Hey everybody, it's Alan Smith. I'm coming at you again from my studio here on the beautiful 4th of July here in the United States of America. Happy birthday, America. Alright, I wanted to give my thoughts on the Games Workshop contrast paints. The new line that's just recently been introduced. You've got two types of cans of primer. It's supposed to be a special primer that reacts and complements the contrast paints. Well, these, first of all, they're not paints. They are basically an ink wash. Now, Games Workshop calls them a dye, a D-Y-E. Ink, dye, wash is a wash, as far as I'm concerned. Now, any of you that have been on my channel for any length of time know that I like to use the Vallejo. I use a lot of the light brown. I use some of the dark brown, sometimes I use some of the black, but I have green, gray, there's a multitude of colors. The advantage to this Vallejo line is it is water soluble. As far as I'm concerned, the disadvantage to the new Games Workshop line is that it is not water soluble. You will need to use their proprietary thinner or solvent or brush cleaner, if you want to call it, to get the product off of your brush. Now, is it an alcohol? Is it like a rubbing alcohol? Is it like a paint thinner? I'm not positive. My thought is it's probably an alcohol-based cleaner or thinner. So bear that in mind if you want to go this route. Now, personally, I'm all for this new contrast paint line. They supposedly have a lot of colors to choose from. There's supposedly some more upcoming products coming out that are going to complement this line. But I'm all for it because it's directed at new painters, younger painters, getting into this hobby and making it easier and quicker to get better results without fussing with the shading and highlighting and the things that more developed painters use in their repertoire. So anything that's going to help get you young painters and you new painters, you don't necessarily have to be young, to get you good results for a least amount of time. And as you move forward in the hobby, my bet is you will want to explore the other types of painting techniques and other types of actual painting. So I'm all for it, 100%. I'm in. Will I eventually down the road purchase some of this product and try it? Probably. I may try some of the washes, see how I like them. I do like the Citadel paints on the whole. I especially like their metallics, are really good quality, more so than Vallejo. I think Vallejo tends to be a little on the thicker side with their metallics. But the downside is, you see here, this little bottle is, it's the old Citadel line, which is still Games Workshop, and then you got the dropper bottle for the Vallejo, which is nice. You can put a drop or two out, thin it down. I use a dropper here to use with thinning down the paint, and then I just stir it with my old brush handle. And then I like to use a craft palette. That's my weapon of choice. That's what I prefer. I've got a wet palette. I've used a wet palette. Personally, I don't prefer a wet palette. I think it makes my paint too wet and a little too runny. And I like to really do small batches. Like today, I'm here. I'm doing some painting finally after weeks of not being able to paint. Being just too busy, and I will say I'll go through one color, put it down, I'll put a drop or two, I'll do a color. I've currently got 3 of these lines to paint that are my infantry I'm working on. Then I'll go take a break, go maybe read or watch a program, or I'll watch some YouTube. If I have some assembly, I'll bounce off the painting and do a little light assembly just to give my eyes a break and to kind of break up the workload a little bit. So that's my process. That's what I like to do. But if you're new to painting, you're just pulling this video up on your YouTube search, I welcome you to the hobby. I say go for it, especially if you're a 40K player. What we call heroic scale 28 millimeter is really fun to paint. I've got some 28 mils historicals I'm working on here on the table also. They're just a lot of fun to paint. I say play with it, have fun with it, and I encourage you to stick with it. At first it's going to be a little challenging, even if you watch all the tutorials out there on the contrast paints. You may get a little frustrated, but don't give up. Everything's difficult at the beginning, and as you continue to move forward in the hobby, you're going to get better and better and better. And get on YouTube, look at all the tutorials. There's a lot of great painters out there who are putting great content and tips on painting as you move forward and you want to get off of using the washes exclusively and getting more into the highlighting and shading effects and more advanced painting techniques. All right, so that's my 2 cents. I wanted to respond. I've been getting some questions on what my impressions were of the contrast paints. I have not purchased any yet, but my first impression is, hey, this is great for new painters and for young painters. And that's my 2 cents. Chat at you next time. Ciao.